Welcome to the Lorehounds. We're your guides to feudal Japan. I'm David.
And I'm Elysia.
And we are doing a little bit of a guerrilla-style podcast today. We're covering episode 8, but Elysia is jumping in. John is back, but now he's been taken down by some sort of flu thing and his whole family, and we don't want to go there. I think life is kind of taking a wrecking ball to our shoji matted house here. We're having an earthquake of our own in terms of scheduling. And so we will rebuild and we'll be fine. I think it's just going to take John and I a couple of days to get our schedules back in sync. So we may be delayed with a more full podcast, a full breakdown. And so I said, why not have Elysia come in and we'll just do a short form thing, kind of guerrilla style, hot off the cuff, and have that available for everyone until we get our lives back in order. So thanks for swinging by, Elysia. I know you've got things going on too. You're really busy. It took us a little bit to get coordinated.
Yeah, there are things that are planned and then there are just accidents that happen.
Exactly. Life is, I don't know, I feel like somebody put a curse on us or something.
Yes. Well, I was saying to John that my sister asked if I checked if the goblins from the Doctor Who Christmas special were following me around.
That bad, huh? Well, let's just jump right in. I'm going to be a little bit of your foil today and let you cook and get your thoughts and reactions to the episode. And then, like I said, John and I will do a more formalized conversation like we have in past. So real quick, right off the top, what did you think of this episode?
I mean, obviously this was probably the episode of the series to date, I suppose. It's hard to say because actually with this series, I think I say that every week.
Right.
But this was an emotional roller coaster. They had me feeling bad for Buntaro of all people.
Right. Remember Michael's email, Dork of the Ninja's voicemail several episodes back, and it was just like, oh, I hate that guy. And then here in this moment, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to cry for him. Yeah,
that doesn't make me like him.
No,
but,
right.
You know, he still is who he is, but he's a human. He's a person. That's a rough day for him.
For real.
Yeah, and I feel like Ishido's got a rough day coming up because Ochiba's definitely stringing him along.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she doesn't, the way that she was looking after he made his proposal, that sort of downward glance to the side, like, this is really embarrassing and I'm really uncomfortable. And this person at work has just said something to me and I don't know how to get out of this. She did not return. She was not giving him a doe-eyed look of love in return.
No. I mean, and from what we've seen between them, how there seems to be no spark on her behalf. And what he's like, you were this goddess that I looked at from afar. And sorry, that's not what most women want to hear. I think if he were like, yes, and I'm going to Machiavelli with you and let's make some plans, baby, and bring some intellectual meat to the table, she might be more interested.
Right. Interesting. So less adoration and more conspiratorial.
Being a real partner.
Yeah. Got it. I mean, she's pulling the strings on him, right? What did she say? You're all but playthings to me. I'm paraphrasing her here.
Yeah.
But a couple of episodes ago, she was like, yeah, you guys are like toys.
Yeah.
My little wind-up figures.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the end game is for her because she's a very inscrutable figure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, she seems very gung-ho in the way that she's set, but I have a feeling that that's not where she's going to end up.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So that's maybe just like knowing television.
We don't know what her end game is either. Is she seeking power for herself, or is she making sure that the heir is installed properly? Is this all a game for her to make sure that the heir gets through? Because doesn't her, I don't know how to relate the Taiko's actual wife or first consort, or however that's
wife, I guess.
Yeah. Determined, like the whole idea was to get the Taiko of age. And so I know what I was going to say. Wasn't the Taiko's first wife? She was like, you're making alliances with the wrong people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You should be allying with Toranaga because he loves the realm. He loves the heir. And Ishido, she just cuts him down. He is nothing. He came from nothing.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that Ochiba is a mirror to Toranaga in a way, and that's what I'm waiting to. I just think there's more to her than this blind revenge.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe I'll be proven correct. Maybe I won't.
Right.
So other than Buntaro, you know who else I felt sad for this episode is Omi, who seemed to be the only one really mourning.
Yeah, he gave a quite a heartfelt speech at the wake. And I thought he had some, we didn't have Fuji-sama this episode, which is very sad, but he did have some good looks. And then the whole part of it's weird because was he manipulating Nagakado at one stage and then they developed a friendship? I mean, they were the only two of the samurai lords that were of the same sort of age group, right? So they had a natural affinity just there.
They hung out. They were friends. And I guess, maybe we were all a little suspicious about how much of that was just convenience or manipulation. But it seems like there was genuine friendship.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he did seem really sad at the wake, for sure.
Which makes me like Omi better. I loved though the moment, one of my favorite moments was the comeuppance in the translation with the Portuguese priest when he comes up and he tries translating for Blackthorn. And he's like, no, you're wrong. And then he just says it himself. I want coal in Japanese. Like, boom.
Not more firewood. Yeah.
That must have felt so good.
Yeah, for sure.
We have to talk about, of course, the major thing of the episode.
Sure. Bring it on.
Gives complicated feelings for, I do think that, I'm sorry, I don't have the name in front of me, Hiramatsu?
Yeah, Hiramatsu, yep.
I do think that he knew what the game was when he signed up for seppuku, but I don't know. I think he really meant you don't have to go this far when he was like, don't make me do this to Toranaga. So it's hard for me not to see Toranaga a little bit blemished by this.
I see. Yeah, it's really interesting because they know each other so well and have been around together for so long. And Hiramatsu obviously is a generation older than him and so has watched Toranaga grow up. So the ability for him to anticipate and be in the right position, that all makes sense. How much of that conversation was real and how much of it was it theater? There was so much wrapped in. I'm in the middle of doing my second watch and I paused it. I woke up really early this morning and started watching it before my family got up. And then I had to pause it. I was like, okay, from here on out, this episode is so intense. I really have to be locked in and not distracted while I'm watching this because I really want to get it all. Now that we know that this was Toranaga's, that this has all been a plan. This has all been theater of Toranaga. I really want to watch those reaction shots again. And I want to see the looks in their eyes that they're exchanging because I have no idea. That's an interesting thing that I've been thinking about too with Toranaga. I don't know what you think about this, but he can't have predicted all of these little variations. Right. He couldn't predict that Nagakado was going to try to assassinate his half-brother.
But he's pivots like a master, That's what makes him who he is. He's very clever, very strong-willed.
Constantly adjusting plans. There's an old saying in the military, no plan survives contact with the enemy.
Right.
You go into a battle having a plan, but the moment you engage, your plan just goes to hell. And so you have to constantly be reevaluating. This whole episode had me thinking about chess.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I think that Toranaga's been playing like 10D chess the entire time.
Exactly. But his willingness to sacrifice a piece like that.
Yeah. Well, that's like giving up your queen,
Absolutely. Because Hiramatsu is respected by everyone. He's a steady hand. He's a calming influence on the younger, members of the clan who might be a little bit more prone to action.
And I think that there are few people Toranaga can be more himself with.
I don't think that Hiramatsu and Toranaga ever explicitly talked about this plan.
No. He just, I think that Hiramatsu knows Toranaga's game and, saw how the pieces were moving. And he was like, it's either these three generals who are young and capable and, should be fighting in this war, or me.
I hadn't thought about that. That's really interesting. It's not dissimilar to what happened with Blackthorn and his gardener.
Right.
The gardener was like, okay, well, I'm going to take one for the village. I'm going to take one for myself. And then I'll give Blackthorn a little backhanded lesson on the way out. But that's interesting. Hiramatsu's looking at what's there, and that's very much in the conversation he has with his son, with Buntaro. He's like, no, you're needed in the war. Your lord needs you more than your lord needs me. So you can't join me in death. I mean, there's a whole other side to the Buntaro thing.
Yeah. But at least then also just, you must know, must know what it is to be denied, which is, like after first that harsh rejection from Mariko, and now he has to kill his, finish his own father's death. And the last words is, now you know how your wife feels.
That's so rough. So it's interesting. He's really wound up. So when they do get into a battle situation at some point, because apparently, episode 9, Crimson Horse Shit, right? Isn't that what
that's what the episode title should be called.
Right. Is Buntaro, is he going to be a sad boy and kind of mopey, or is he going to be a fury? And is he going to be at the tip of the spear, so to speak, and taking out enemies left and right?
Right. Well, he probably will fight like he has nothing to live for. So
I wonder what kind of falcon he would be if we were going to give Buntaro a falcon, maybe an eagle, because they're kind of, to be honest, eagles are kind of stupid. They're not very clever.
Yeah. Okay.
They're majestic. They're beautiful, but they're not clever birds. I thought that the line about goshawk. Of course, I'm about to go do a deep dive on hawks and figure out the different kind. Why is a goshawk different than a peregrine falcon? At the very first of the season, I believe that's what Toranaga was describing to Nagakado, was how his favorite bird will be very high up in the sky and use the sun as cover, and then strike with a lot of speed and momentum, right? And kinetic energy. It'd be interesting to do. Somebody, I'm sure, on the internets will do a full Falconoid breakdown of all the characters.
I bet it exists. Oh yeah, of the characters. Yeah,
right. You take the characters and then match them with the Falcon types.
Yeah. But Buntaro, he let his father's head roll. So my headcanon is he was just, it's not, he was too emotional and he didn't want to risk it.
Right.
It's not that, of course, the producers didn't know that fact. It's
right. Well, I think the thing I had the exact same thought when it was about to happen. I was like, are they going to show a clean cut, or how's it going to go? And I had to answer that same question in my head with the fact that if he had done the thing where he'd left it so it didn't go rolling, that would be more visually shocking than, like, say, the cannon scene or the boiling scene. I think the fact that it rolls, the head rolls,
right,
is more like we could deal with that. I don't think we could deal with the fact that it would.
No, that's true. Attached. Oh man, I saw recently Love Lies Bleeding, and I won't describe it, but there is a visual there that's going to live in my head. Anyway.
Was that a good movie? Was that
yes.
Okay.
It's a very good movie, yeah. So La Chimera is no longer number 5, it's number 6.
Ellen, I just saw you posted we've got Oscar dates for next year.
Yeah, we have 3 days less in between, but...
Oh, damn. Well, I'll just plan to save up my flu and cold season for that period so I can have an excuse to binge watch all the movies in one go.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it was interesting. We finally got to see not Blackthorn reunited with his boat, but reunited with one of his crewmen. And it was not quite what he thought it was going to be. I really identified with that. I love characters, again, that are between two different cultures like that. I think they changed the sailor's accent because he was like sounding very British in the first episode. And in this one, it almost sounded like he was trying to sound Dutch, but he didn't. Okay. He's Canadian, for the record.
Funny. I think his name was Samson?
Salomon.
Salomon, that's right. Yeah, right. Is that a Dutch name at least?
Could be. I mean, okay. It's not like Jan or Case or something.
Right. The whole scene of him walking down the alley was great, where he's just like, oh, damn. And then the realization, wait, did I used to stink like this?
Yeah, exactly. He's now learned that silks and baths are actually kind of nice.
Yeah, exactly. He's very much luxuriating in the new style. The coat. Why did he take his coat off? Like I was kind of I was doing CSI, right? I was like, wait a minute, like you're leaving evidence.
Yeah, they said on the podcast is because he was so on the FX podcast that he was so disgusted with being touched by his dirty drunk shipmate.
Oh, he was disgusted because of the guy touched his jacket.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
He's gone full, like, nope.
Right, these barbarians, these stinking barbarians. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's rough. Then this whole time that has been his thing, right? Like, where's my shipmates?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he was asking more about the boat than the people who were on it. He asked about them like once.
So I've come to this conclusion. I don't know what thoughts you have on Blackthorn, if you've got more notes, but I had this thought because when Blackthorn was trying to entreat Yabashige, drink, everyone. I guess there's a drinking game now when we mispronounce things or when we try to pronounce them correctly. Anyway, when he's doing that, and Yabashige is like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm a little bit flattered by Blackthorn. And Omi shoots him that look like, dude, you cannot be serious. It's like when you're at the bar and you're like, your friend is like, are you serious? You're really interested in this other person? Come on. And I realized, and then of course there's the whole scene, that part with Mariko, and then with the sailors, that Blackthorn is a user. He's toxic. He will use you. He will charm you and make you feel great, and you'll be sort of enamored with him up until the point that he's done. And then once that diverges, he's on his own way. And I think that's what crew member said. Basically, it was like, every decision you made led us further and further astray to the point that there's only 6 of us now, and we're living in this really, horrible state. So,
right.
And I think Mariko feels that way too. I think everybody is starting to realize that Blackthorn's game is Blackthorn and not for anybody else.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Mariko still has feelings for him. She just knows that like it's just a no, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't wish
sure
that there were a world.
Right. New world.
One thing I common trait I'd noticed this episode is Blackthorn, Yabashige, and Ochiba are all people who want to control their own fate. They've all said things to that effect in this show.
Right. Yeah, fate was a big topic again in this. Fate and loyalty. Right, were the two big sort of thematic elements. But yeah, what does he say? I have to whittle my own fate, so I'm whittling, which is I've only got small amounts of material to work with here, so I have only a few choices left. I noticed that for sure. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, they all talk about being masters of their own fate, and then people like, I wonder if it will end better for the people who haven't said that. People like Mariko and Toranaga.
Well, the people who are just loyal and just go along with it. Right. Like, Fuji or somebody else, in just people in the village, just getting by on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, if anything bad happens to Fuji, I swear to God.
We riot. Yeah, it was, it makes sense. She has to stay behind to look after, all of his affairs and stuff like that. I think it's, maybe Toranaga didn't order her to come. Well, it's interesting too. I had this question. Is is Blackthorn still a Hatamoto?
He gave it up, I guess. I mean, because his shipmate, or no, someone said to him, like, you gave up being a Hatamoto this episode.
Yeah, well, that's the question, because he's still traveling with the group, but then
because he's not staying within the castle.
In the castle walls, right? Alvino says, usually a Hatamoto would be inside of his lord's walls, because it literally means under the banner, right? That's what the Hatamoto title means.
But I think he gave it up when he's, Crimson Horseshit.
Yeah, exactly. And when he walked out, but yet he's still being... But he was still given a title or some land. Sorry, he was still given a little region of land that was worth a certain amount of koku. So is that presumably he maintains that, and whether he is a kind of a lord now that just doesn't have Hatamoto title, or is he still? Yeah, because she gave him the books when they were coming into the city. Said, your service is done. You're
I thought
not
it was
with
tied
us.
to the title, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a question. I don't know. So
speaking of land, greatest line of the episode is like, "Those are your neighbors."
Was that just a perfect Toranaga screw? Like, I'm going to give you your land, but.
And then I'm going to send you to the regions, which everyone knew once they were sending the priests that. It wasn't for real.
And he knows that Alvino is going to tell the truth, or to tell what his eyes saw.
Right. One thing I meant to look up is I didn't know that Tokyo was all these wet plains. Then Abby was sharing today on the Discord that there's how many rivers? Like
I don't know. I've got the Discord open now. Here, let me scroll
nearly
back.
100, right?
107, she says. 107, present day. Wow. And then 15 major rivers. And God knows how many other tributaries. Yeah. So she said there's a total of 107 in present day Tokyo.
Oh, it's interesting because I don't know if they worked with the Dutch at all, because obviously the Dutch become allies. Sure. And of course the Dutch, this entire country was built on dealing with wet plains and digging a bunch of canals. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I meant to look that up, but obviously it's been a crazy day for us all.
Right. Exactly. Cool. Any other thoughts or observations you wanted to share with everyone?
I mean, I guess just where it all ends, that so Mariko, she again just has the best way with words. Today, we all suffered a great loss. I won't deepen the wound by disagreeing. When he asks her, did I do the right thing? And it's like, it doesn't matter. It's done.
Yeah. I think Mariko was the MVP of this episode for sure. She was dropping bombs all over the place. I'd rather live 1,000 years. Her enemy is fear. She's just, she's incredible.
And she's the big mystery for next episode. Like what's in the letter? What's Mariko's part?
Well, I think Mariko, if we're gonna do the Falcon comparison, she's gotta be a peregrine, because she is a small, fast, very intelligent missile being aimed right at the heart of Lady Ochiba, I think. He's sending her in as a hot missile streaking in to cause distraction and dissension. And so that when he then gets there after his 49 days, that there's going to be stuff going. He's going to be able to take advantage. The situation is going to be destabilized so that he can take advantage of it. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for the next episode to see this random trio of Blackthorn, Yabushige, and Mariko.
Right? Yeah, that's a fun one.
Oh, it's going to be uncomfortable for Yabushige sometimes, I think.
He's so good, though. He's hilarious.
Yeah. His reactions are going to be priceless.
I want to see his death ranking book. above being eaten by a dog, but below being boiled? Was it? I don't know. I don't have my notes. I wrote it down somewhere. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Elysia. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. I know you've got some big plans, so enjoy those. Everyone else, definitely stay tuned. Once John is able to sit up and take some nourishment and hold the microphone in his hand, we will get a full episode 8 breakdown pod out, which means you still have some time to send in some feedback. And if you don't want to send in feedback for episode 8, but just send us feedback in general, definitely send us to shogun@thelorehounds.com. Or head over to our website, thelorehounds.com, and go to the contact page. And there's a form you can fill out, or you can record us a voicemail. As always, we have our Discord. We've got a great moderator team there. We have a really fun community. Nate, I'm just looking at the Discord now. Nate is writing in several paragraphs as you and I are recording. So there's going to be some more good information there. We have different channels for all of our different shows and projects that we are covering. So definitely join us there. Even if you don't feel like chatting, if you just want to drop in and read some of the comments and see what some folks are saying, swing by. We'd be happy to have you come in. Let's see. Just really quick, we're going to do a very modified closing here. For our affiliate podcasts, we have a new podcast that we have just sponsored, Radioactive Ramblings with Aaron, who's one of our Discord moderators, and his buddy Chase. They're doing Fallout. I guess the Fallout show is getting some good reviews. Everybody's saying it's a successful game to screen adaptation. It's all on a binge. Amazon decided to drop it all in one package a day early. So they're going to be covering those. They're going to be chunking up their episodes. In the show notes of this podcast, there are links to all of our affiliates. So if you want to hear any of these other podcasts, you get to go there, subscribe, and then download and listen to those. Or hop onto the Discord, and we've got channels for them all as well. So check out Fallout. Check out Properly Howard Movie Review. Steve and Anthony have just released their list of movies for their next season that they're coming up with. It's going to be called Felonies and Fugazis. So it's all crime-related films. And they've got the schedule ready to go. And this initial episode is a draft. They have a lot of fun figuring out what movies they're going to cover. Then, of course, we have Rings and Rituals. Marilyn and Dr. Sarah Brown are breaking down the rituals that we see on screen in season 1 of Rings of Power. It's a really fascinating deep dive. Even if you're not into Tolkien stuff, just go check it out because it's just two very intelligent, passionate people talking about ritual and the meaning of ritual. And I think it really is starting to make me think about all the little rituals that I have going on in my life that I didn't even really realize that they're rituals. So again, go and check out all of them. To our Lore Master subscribers, I'm going to skip reading your names out today. I know, sacrilege, but you know who you are. We appreciate you. And to anyone else who's listening, thank you very much for your patronage, be it just listening on the public feeds or those of you who do subscribe. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. It's not just about John and I or Elysia. It's about our community and about having a fun, human-centered, non-algorithmically driven community where we get to nerd out and talk about the kinds of things that give us joy in our lives. Because the world's kind of a crazy place right now, and it's nice to have a fun little place where we can talk and share and think about things.
We'll shift dust, listeners.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Of course.
That's okay.
So sorry, Elysia.
We're going to do the first 3 episodes of Beacon 23 together. So just hang
Season
tight
2.
a couple weeks and enjoy the Hugh Howey interview for now. And we'll be back with the first 3.
Awesome. All right, Elysia, thanks. Good to see you. I appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next one. A last note. We are going to do a season wrap-up podcast, and we're going to schedule it so that Elysia, John, and I can all be on the mic together. And then we're going to talk to our friend Nate Ledbetter, who's been all up in our Discord, dropping all kinds of great insights. Thank you, Nate, so much for all the insights. We're looking forward to having you on the podcast. Elysia, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Everyone listen to Monkey Man. Bye.
Oh, yes, that's right. And the Monkey Man, that's right. Okay, bye. And happy birthday, Duve71.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.